day. Yeah. Okay, anyways, there are like a lot of people who worked on this, and they have to be thanked because it's like a lot of effort. Peter Ferrie, who got, who helped me reverse engineer a lot of this stuff, and he also found some of the SCADA stuff, but he's not here. Arthur, the guy who found the task scheduler. Mark Woe, who helped me work with the spool issue. Our engineering team, Ken Johnson, who was the one. So I was gone for a few days, so they assigned Ken Johnson to analyze the remaining binaries that we extracted, and he found the net API vulnerability. So there's actually 5 vulns. 4 of them are zero-day. The 5th one is this MSA 067. That one is also used to spread around the network. And then the spooler team, Richard Van Eden, who worked on the task scheduler, and then Rolf Rolls, who he doesn't work for us, but we decompile stuff together for fun. And then the Kaspersky team in Moscow. Kaspersky is actually the only team, because they sent us the test, the principal stuff, we actually share all the details with them, right? all the vulns. We had a con call with them, and we shared pretty much everything we knew about the malware. And they did the same. And then we had an agreement that, yeah, we're not going to share this with other people. So they should be thanked for that. And the guys in the Moscow office are really elite. So yeah. And then, of course, I want to thank the virus block AD in Belarus for sending us the PDF, and then the AV test guys for sending us the sample for analysis. And questions?
Questions. So if anyone...
Yeah.
So the way we're going to do questions, if you've got a question, if you can line up behind the 2 microphones here, and what we're going to do is after 2 questions from the audience here, we're going to take a question from the hackers bases. Hang on a minute.
Oh yeah, one thing, don't ask me about who did this, the attribution, wait for WikiLeaks or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, so they have no questions? Oh, okay, fine. Okay, so questions. We'll start with this gentleman here. Speak into the microphone and make sure it's on. Chef will take care of it.
Earlier you explained that when you gain the privileges, the system privileges. The system privileges are like root. So
yes.
Do you use Linux?
Tavis, where are you at? Yes, I use Linux from time to time.
Okay, this gentleman here.
Do you know, or can you guess how long Stuxnet was around before you discovered it?
Pardon?
Do you know, or can you guess how long Stuxnet was around and was used before you discovered it?
Okay, yeah. So some of the AV, there are various companies that said that this has been around for over a year, I guess. So yeah. There are different versions of it, I guess, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Next.
First of all, I never expected to enjoy Microsoft's talk this much.
Well, thanks.
Windows runs StarCraft, and that's all I needed to do. I'm a lot more familiar with the SPS systems and AWL, so I'm interested. Did you find anything about these systems, or did other people who have actually running the WinCC software find out about it first?
So you're talking about the SCADA stuff, right?
About this, I'm talking about this Siemens.
Yeah, the Siemens stuff. Yeah. So once we figured, so we had pretty much the majority of the malware understood, with the exception of the Siemens part, because it has its own opcode and crap like that. It's not very obvious, hook function A and do blah. It's not very obvious. Yeah, and I don't know anything about SCADA systems. So what happened was, yeah, I did not look at that. But do talk to me after after this is over, and we can explain. Yeah. I'm not very comfortable answering those type of questions, so yeah.
Regarding one of the vulnerabilities, you mentioned that it was known to some other guys at Microsoft for quite some time. Did I understand you right?
No, it was known. Actually, there are two vulns that were known to the public for quite a while. One is the print spooler one that was known in like, I don't know, some magazine that was like in 2008 or something like that. But then the link vulnerability, that one was known to various people, not at Microsoft, not that I'm aware of, but external people knew about it for several years. Yes.
So Microsoft just wasn't aware of it. Was it a 0-day, or didn't Microsoft knew of it and didn't patch it, or what am I missing here?
No, I mean, so the people who knew about this vuln did not use it in a large scale at all. They used it like once or twice. So like nobody knew about it. Only when this thing came up, people were like, "Oh yeah, dude, I knew about this in like 2 or 3 years ago." I was like, "Okay, yeah." So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you may have already said this. How long did this take, beginning to end, from?
From beginning to end, in terms of man hours, we had 2 guys, and Arthur. I'm guessing, I don't know, like 40 hours maybe at most. Yeah. So yeah. Wait. Yeah. The decompilation took a bit longer. Well, like yeah, because we were like perfectionists. We want the opcodes to match like completely. So we like had to tweak around a bit. But yeah.
Those 40 man hours were over a couple of days or one day? Or?
So it's over a period, yeah, so I'm trying to think. It's over like maybe 3-4 days probably, yeah. So like, you don't remember like, once we knew something, we share it we send this, and we have a mailing list that we have people who are involved in this. And once, like the root cause is understood, like people just, did a fixed proposal. I mean, it was literally within minutes, so.
You wanted to talk more about the shellcode?
Yeah, so the shellcode. The shellcode was basically so the shellcode was to load some other files in, and typically in shellcode, like, so the pattern that I showed, the exchange, EAX, ESP, and like a ret, that pattern is constant. There's no calls in the shellcode. Everything is done in terms of exchange, EAX, ESP, ret. And I think one of the main reasons why the code was written this way, I don't think it was written on purpose. I think they had a tool to do that transformed the original code into this form. So it'll be more difficult to, I guess, identify like if they were to reuse this again, it'll be hard for you to figure out, oh yeah, like it was these people who did it. You know what I mean? So to perhaps increase like reusability. That's what I guessed.
And we have a question from the audience?
Yep.
Oh, from the hackerspaces.
Yes, exactly. And this is an interesting question from Joe, who joined us. And his question is, were there just a 0-day exploit, or because he had read some rumors in the media that there were about 4 0-days in Stuxnet?
Sorry, I'm like something about 4
so,
0
yeah,
days.
so were all the vulns that in Stuxnet 0 days?
There are 5 of them.
Rumors that there were
5
more.
of them. So there were a total of 5 vulnerabilities. 4 of them were 0 days.
So 4 out of 5.
Yeah. The other one was fixed in like 2008 or something. MSRL 67. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, some 5 years ago, Microsoft has published the Strider Ghostbuster rootkit finder. As far as I remember, that concept seems reasonable to me. Did you consider using it to go deeper into that rootkit issue and to make it kind of more an external internal view comparison?
So
as far as I see, you have more or less judged whether there is something or not by evidence and not by a real total view on how it looks external and how it looks internal, the system.
I'm not understanding this question. So you're talking about a Strider?
Well, the nature of a rootkit is that it hides by modifying the system APIs. That means you don't see it. Well, with an external view, you can see it. That's the concept of that Strider system. At that time, Bruce Schneier has commented very positive about it, and I think maybe that would have been an option to make sure that there is nothing else, nothing more
so
than you
basically,
have found.
So basically, the first thing we did was, they submitted, when the file came in, we automatically submit to an automated analysis system, in which basically spit out all the different file results that, like say what the rootkit does, like say attaches to a certain file, attaches to like the CDFS driver, blah 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 blah. Yeah, it told us all these things, right? But that's not actually very important to me at least, because that doesn't actually help me figure out how the hell did the rootkit get installed. Do you know what I mean? Like the behavior of the rootkit is not as important to me, because I need to know how, my objective was to figure out how the rootkit was installed, so from a vulnerability perspective. And after we figured that out, then we analyzed the rootkit manually, at least I did. So I don't know if that answers your question or not, but yeah, sorry.
Well, kind of. At least I think this could be a kind of a last step to make sure that there is nothing else.
Ah, I see what you're saying. So you think that using this tool to ensure that there are no other vulns, or like, yeah, I see what you're saying. So the reason why I was pretty calm there were nothing else is because like I spent a lot of time like going over the code, and like we had confirmations, shouldn't say confirmation, like my other partner agreed with me and so on. So that's how we were able to figure out, yeah.
Right, we have time for, well, we're going to take these last two and then we're going to have to call it. So this gentleman here.
So you said that it was 1 megabyte of code in total that you analyzed?
Can you step forward and speak into the microphone?
I try again, but I don't know whether it's on. Yeah, okay. So you said it's 1 megabyte of total data?
Yeah, it's about a meg, yeah.
About a megabyte. How much of this was the SCADA payload and how much about was the actual Stuxnet?
Don't quote me on this, but I don't know how big this SCADA. I didn't look at the SCADA part. All the exploits and the DL loading part, which is duplicated in 2 files. I don't know, I mean, I'll take a wild guess. Like, probably like, I probably shouldn't even take a wild guess. Yeah.
Scientific guess.
Yeah, I don't know, I mean, the exploits were, everything, like at least the x86 code, I'm guessing probably like 300K, 400K or something like that, I'm guessing. Yeah. Sorry, I can't make a good answer on that. Yeah.
Is the automated analysis tool you just mentioned an in-house tool of Microsoft, or is it something that's publicly available?
So like practically every like AV vendor has these. I mean, it's like, you know, like Norman Sandbox or CW Sandbox and so on. They just tell you, you know, hey, these files are written. Hey, look, you know, like this DL is injected into this process. Blah blah blah. Yeah, that's an internal tool, but I mean, the service is free. I think you can upload stuff to. There are free sandboxes that you can upload stuff to, and get the same result. We only use that because I didn't want to waste my time looking at stuff that has the emulation layer. Sorry, I didn't want to waste time looking at stuff that were already understood by the automated tool. Yeah.
So, okay, very good. Okay, great. So if anyone has any other questions for Bruce, you can crowd outside and you can all, take turns frisking each other to make sure nobody's going to try and stab, shoot, or poison poor old Bruce here.
Yeah.
Remember to look out for the vaguely shifty-looking guy, especially the one who wanted to talk to you earlier. And I hope the other guys that you mentioned on your thank you list as well remember to look underneath the car before they go in the morning. All right.
Yeah.
So that was Bruce. Big hand, please, for Bruce.